On May 13, 2026, the legal world in America was shaken to its core. The South Carolina Supreme Court made a decision that no one expected. In a unanimous 5-0 vote, they overturned the murder convictions of Alex Murdaugh. This meant the 2 life sentences he was serving for the deaths of his wife, Maggie, and his son, Paul, were suddenly gone. But this wasn't necessarily because the court thought he was innocent. Instead, it was a harsh warning about how a high-profile trial can be ruined by a single official's hunger for fame. To understand how we got here, we have to go back over 100 years. For nearly 9 decades, the name Murdaugh was the law in the South Carolina Lowcountry. Between 1920 and 2006, 3 generations of the family served as the top prosecutor for the region. This was a place people called Murdaugh Country, because the family held so much power for so long. Alex Murdaugh was the 4th generation, a prominent lawyer and volunteer prosecutor who lived a life of luxury on a massive 1,700-acre estate known as Moselle. But on the night of June 7, 2021, that luxury turned into a nightmare. Alex called 911 screaming that he had found Maggie and Paul shot to death near the estate's dog kennels. Paul had been killed with a shotgun at close range, and Maggie had been shot multiple times with a rifle. For months, Alex told police he wasn't anywhere near the kennels when the shootings happened, but investigators eventually found a video on Paul's phone, recorded just minutes before the murders. In the background, you could clearly hear Alex's voice. This lie became a central piece of the evidence against him. As the murder case grew, another scandal came to light. Alex Murdaugh wasn't just a grieving husband, he was a thief. He admitted to stealing nearly $12 million from his own law firm and his clients. The victims were people who trusted him, like his longtime housekeeper, Gloria Satterfield, and a man left paralyzed after a car crash named Hakeem Pinkney. Prosecutors argued that Alex killed his family to create a distraction because his financial lies were about to be exposed. The 2023 trial was a global sensation. But while the world watched the evidence, something was happening behind the scenes. The clerk of court, Becky Hill, was the person in charge of managing the jury. According to the Supreme Court, she placed her fingers on the scales of justice. Why? Because she was writing a book about the trial called Behind the Doors of Justice, and she wanted a guilty verdict to make her book a bestseller. The evidence against Becky Hill was shocking. Jurors testified that she told them not to be fooled by the defense and warned them to watch Alex's body language closely when he testified. She even told them that deliberations shouldn't take long, pressuring them to reach a quick verdict. The Supreme Court called her conduct disgraceful. Because of her interference, they ruled that Alex Murdaugh did not get a fair trial. Becky Hill's own career ended in disgrace. She resigned in 2024 and was arrested in May 2025. By December of that year, she pleaded guilty to obstruction of justice and perjury, specifically for lying under oath about her actions during the trial. She was sentenced to 3 years of probation, and her book was pulled from shelves after reports of plagiarism. So what happens now? Alex Murdaugh is still in prison. Even though the murder convictions were overturned, he is still serving a 40-year federal sentence and a 27-year state sentence for his financial crimes. He isn't going anywhere anytime soon. However, South Carolina is now preparing for a massive retrial, likely in late 2026, but the next trial will look very different. The Supreme Court warned prosecutors not to focus so much on Alex's financial thefts. They ruled that the first trial spent too much time, over 12 hours, talking about his money crimes, which unfairly turned the jury against him before they even considered the murder evidence. The case of Alex Murdaugh has become more than just a murder story. It is now a story about the integrity of the American legal system. It shows that no matter how famous or how hated a defendant might be, the law demands a fair trial. As the state prepares to try him again, one question remains. Without the epic commentary of a clerk or the long list of financial victims, can the prosecution prove once more that Alex Murdaugh is a murderer?